3D beat'em ups are not really something that I usually enjoy, but from time to time one caught my attention and I have to play it. Hello my friends and welcome to The Flying Kick, I am Savino and today I bring to you the review of Big Helmet Heroes, a beautifully crafted 3D beat'em up developed by the nice guys at Exalted Studios and published by Deer Villages. Big Helmet Heroes is not a complex game when it comes to the story. There isn't much to see here. You are a hero taking part in some sort of competition and you are being watched by the princess of the kingdom. Suddenly a huge dragon comes by and swoops in to grab the helpless princess and take her away to his lair. The game hasn't a single word, every bit of the story is presented by some nicely done cutscenes. There are a few twists here and there and some comedic moments that are worth watching. I mean, the princess isn't as helpless as you might think, but aside from that, there's nothing in the story that you need to follow and you won't miss much if you just skip it. It's a fun tale, but nothing more than that. When it comes to the graphics, Big Helmet Heroes is a sight to behold. The world is beautiful and carefully crafted, showing vast vistas crowded with details and life. The use of PBR textures give the materials used in the scene a beautiful and realistic interaction with the amazing light that permeates the whole game. The shine on your helmet, the way the wood interacts with the light, the sun shining through the grass, I mean, this is what I expect to see in AAA games and not in a small indie beat'em up. It's really amazing and I can finally put my PC to the test. There's a huge variety of backgrounds here, from small villas with crops and houses scattered around the world, passing through vast and dark caves illuminated by dangerous lava flows, to huge halls made of granite, marble and gold that would make any Greek god envy. The game looks like toys in action or miniatures that are awesome to look at. I really like what they did with the art style. It reminds me a mix of Castle Crashers and Little Big Planet, both games that are adorable in their own way. Your characters are also full of charm. You have a huge variety of heroes to choose from, as we will see ahead, and they are all extremely cute. The same goes for your enemies, which will range from small goblins to huge minotaurs, and they couldn't be more adorable. Actually, your enemies will appear with a variety of disguises, and even though this will end up hurting the gameplay a bit, it's only fair that I praise the developer's creativity here. The animations here are also amazing. Your characters have a vast array of moves, and it's all fluid and smooth as expected for a 3D game. The bosses here are also impressive. They are huge, moving with a lot of speed and a remarkable fluidity. I really like to see this level of attention to detail. Big Helmet Heroes is a gorgeous game, the type that I'm not that used to playing, so you can imagine how my jaw dropped when I started to play this one. Now, when it comes to the sound, well, it's not as good as the graphics. It's serviceable at best, although there are some good highlights here. The game has, as I said, no voices aside from screams and grunts from your characters and enemies. I mean, the sounds from your enemies are fun to listen to and you learn to identify them from afar just by listening to the sounds they make. It's all a bit childish, but it fits the overall theme of the game. Your attacks sound good, but they aren't as impressive as the visuals and will become just background noises while you listen to your enemies screaming. There is nothing wrong with that actually. While in most games the sound of your impacts can be pretty important to the feel of the combat, here I don't think it makes much of a difference. The music unfortunately isn't that great either. I mean, it's not bad, but it's so commonplace that I'm having trouble trying to remember any of them while I'm writing this review. I tried to pay attention to them, but they soon became background noise as the hit impacts, doing little to nothing for the game. They have all that adventurous feel of medieval games that you already listened to 1,000 times before. Of course, the game is better with them, but I doubt you'll remember much after you beat it. So, with all that covered, let's jump into the meat of the game, gameplay and combat. Gameplay-wise, Big Helmet Hero is a pretty straightforward game. You start the game in a small competition-like thing, controlling one single hero that will work as your tutorial and introduction to the story. After that, the game really starts, and it won't be long until you rescue your first hero and add him to your pool of selectable characters. Big Helmet Heroes has a huge array of characters for you to choose from, but first, you need to find and rescue them. It's a nice mechanic that will make you replay some of the levels to find that last hidden hero. After beating a level and rescuing a new character, you'll be thrown into the character selection screen where you'll be asked to select a second character. And here is where it lies the main mechanic of this game. In Big Helmet Heroes, you can swap characters at will, tagging them in and out anytime you need. This tag mechanic not only changes the character you are currently using, but it's also a way to extend or change your combos. Every time you swap a character mid-combo, the new hero will enter the scene, unleashing a devastating move, making it a very useful tool for when you are surrounded by enemies. These moves will change according to the class you are using, and you have 4 of them to choose from. You have the warrior, who holds a sword and shield and has a good mix of speed, range and defense. The brute, which you can guess by the name and the big hammer in his hand what this class is about. The thief, which is your glass cannon with high DPS, speed and very low resistance. And finally the monk, which has the highest reach and some aerial attacks that can really make a difference, especially with his area attacks. You control all these classes in the same way. You have a weak and a strong attack, a jump, a dodge, a grab, and a special button. You can also hold your strong attack and charge it to unleash a more powerful move, and of course, you have your swap button. You can mix some of your attacks to unleash a few combos, but there's nothing too much special here or even the need to perform complex combos, as we will see ahead. Still talking about the different classes of heroes, there are some variations to these classes. You will find at least 4 different heroes under each one of the classes, but unfortunately, there is no variation between them aside from the special. Each one of the heroes you rescue will be the same as the last one from the same class except for one detail, the special move. Each one of the heroes has a unique special move that honestly is a blast to watch. These specials are the main attraction here thanks to how exaggerated they are. You have laser blasts, snow and sandstorms, you can become a giant or using a giant hammer to squash your enemies, you name it. There are a ton of crazy specials here and each one has its own advantages and disadvantages. Some are great against bosses, others are better against huge hordes of enemies. It's pretty awesome. Talking about the enemies, well, there isn't much variety here. You will face hordes of goblins that will come at you with swords, bows, bombs and all sorts of weapons to attack you. They aren't very smart, they will just run toward you or attack you from a distance with their bows. But other than that, they don't have any tactics or even coordination when attacking you. It's just a horde, an angry mob with pitchforks coming right at you. And while I don't remember if there are pitchforks in this game, one thing I'm sure there are a ton of weapons to pick up. In Big Helmet Heroes, more than slashing goblins with your weapons, you will also be burning, freezing, shocking and poisoning them, among other things. The variety and creativity here are impressive, and while some of the weapons aren't as useful as others, it's pretty fun to try each one of them to see what you can do. As with the enemies, the bosses haven't much variety, and despite being big and menacing, they won't be much of a problem for you. They look cool and have some awesome animations, but thanks to some of your specials, they will be defeated without much of a hassle. Now, the game isn't without its problems. The first of them is that Big Helmet Heroes is a very easy game. This is not really a negative point, since I truly believe this game was made for younger audiences, but even so, the lack of challenge, even in the hard mode, is a bit baffling. Your specials refuse too fast, rendering most of your moves useless, since you can very well just hit a couple of enemies to fill your special bar and unleash all the power inside your hero to clear the screen. The lack of enemy variation also hurts the game a bit, since you'll be facing the same enemies over and over again with just a somewhat different skin. And 20 levels is a bit too much for what the game offers. After the 12th level, I was begging for the game to finish because there wasn't anything that I hadn't seen before. The lack of variation between the heroes aside from their special moves was a bit disappointing too. I mean, the specials are cool and all, but unlocking characters just to find out they are the same character you were already using, but with a different skin, is a bit underwhelming. For 20 bucks, only 2 players and no online and any other mode to extend the gameplay, I think it's a bit too much. The game is gorgeous, it's fun in small doses, and it's a blast to play in co-op with someone who is not well versed in the genre or your kids. But the game lacks any reason to replay it again aside from beating your high score or unlocking a character. The combat, while simple and fun, isn't engaging enough to bring you back to improve your technique or try new things. If you really like what you see, or as I said, you have small kids to play, this game can be worth your money, but if you're looking for a game to play alone and challenge yourself, this is unfortunately not the one. And that's it for the review, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video and tell me in the comments if you will grab this one or if this is a pass for you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy beat-em ups. I will be back this Sunday with our weekly video, and this time I will talk about some beat-em ups on the SNES that are a sight to behold. But until then, I hope you all have an awesome day, and remember, keep beating up.